4 of these 10 stars were killed by the very systems designed to protect them: their personal doctors, their chartered pilots, their prescription pills. Fame promised safety, but delivered death sentences. Because when the systems built to protect you fail, and they always can, it doesn't matter if you're a legend or a nobody. Death doesn't check your Spotify streams. Here's how the music industry's darkest tragedies unfolded. Case 1. Liam Payne. Our first case begins with a fall that shocked the world just months ago. On October 16, 2024, 31-year-old Liam Payne checked into the Casa Sur Palermo hotel in Buenos Aires. The former One Direction star was in Argentina for his ex-bandmate's concert, but something was wrong. Witnesses reported erratic behavior in the lobby. Hotel staff made multiple calls about a guest destroying his room. At 5:07 p.m. local time, Payne fell from his third-floor balcony, 40 feet. The fall took less than 2 seconds. He landed on a wooden deck in the hotel's internal courtyard. The impact caused catastrophic injuries to his skull and chest. Emergency responders arrived within minutes, but at 5:11 p.m., Liam Payne was pronounced dead. Toxicology later revealed multiple substances in his system, including cocaine, benzodiazepines, and crack. Investigators believe he was likely unconscious or severely impaired when he went over that railing. He may not have understood what was happening, but that's cold comfort. When loss of control meets an environment with no margin for error, tragedy doesn't need intent. It just needs opportunity. But Payne wasn't the only one failed by those closest to him. Case 2. Michael Jackson. On June 25, 2009, 50-year-old Michael Jackson was found unresponsive in his Los Angeles mansion. The king of pop had a problem. He couldn't sleep. So he hired a personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, at $150,000 per month. Murray's solution? Propofol. Propofol is a surgical anesthetic. It's what doctors use to put you under before they cut you open. It requires ICU-level monitoring, continuous oxygen support, and immediate access to resuscitation equipment. Murray administered it in Jackson's bedroom. Propofol suppresses your respiratory drive. Your brain forgets to tell your lungs to breathe. Without constant monitoring, you simply stop. At some point that morning, Michael Jackson's breathing slowed, then stopped. His brain, starved of oxygen, began to die. Murray wasn't in the room. He later claimed he stepped away for 2 minutes to use the bathroom. The coroner estimated Jackson was without oxygen for at least 20 minutes before anyone noticed. 20 minutes. Conrad Murray was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. He served less than 2 years in prison. Michael Jackson could afford anything: private jets, personal chefs, a doctor on call 24/7. But the system he paid to protect him became the system that killed him. But Jackson's doctor wasn't the only one who cut corners. Case 3. Lisa Left Eye Lopes. On April 25, 2002, 30-year-old Lisa Lopes was driving on a remote road in Honduras. The TLC star, known as Left Eye, was in Central America for a spiritual retreat. She'd brought a camera crew to document the trip. That camera was rolling when everything went wrong. A truck appeared ahead. Lopes swerved to avoid it and overcorrected. Overcorrection is one of the deadliest mistakes a driver can make. The vehicle's momentum shifts violently. The tires lose grip, and before you can react, the SUV rolled. Multiple times. The camera captured chaos, screaming, impact, then darkness. Passengers ejected during rollovers without seatbelts have a mortality rate 4 times higher than those who stay inside. Lopes wasn't wearing hers. She was thrown from the vehicle. 7 others survived. No drugs, no foul play, no system failure, just one moment. One reflex, one split-second decision that couldn't be undone. Sometimes that's all it takes, and the next betrayal came from 30,000 feet above. Case 4. Aaliyah. On August 25, 2001, 22-year-old Aaliyah boarded a Cessna 402 in the Bahamas. The R&B star had just finished filming a music video. She was exhausted, eager to get home. Her team chartered a small plane to avoid waiting for a commercial flight. But that plane should never have left the ground. The Cessna 402 has a maximum takeoff weight. Aaliyah's plane exceeded it by 700 pounds. An overloaded aircraft can't generate enough lift. The engines scream, the wheels leave the runway, but the plane can't climb. It stalls. Aaliyah's plane made it 200 feet into the air before it dropped. Witnesses said the engine sputtered, the nose dipped. For a few seconds, everyone on board knew something was wrong. Then it hit the marsh and exploded. All 9 people on board died. Aaliyah's body was found still strapped to her seat. The pilot's license was expired. His employer knew. No one from the charter company ever faced criminal charges. Aaliyah paid for a service designed to keep her safe. The pilot's job was simple: get her home alive. He was high on cocaine when the plane took off. That flight wasn't the last aviation betrayal. Case 5. Randy Rhoads. On March 19, 1982, 25-year-old Randy Rhoads was asleep on Ozzy Osbourne's tour bus in Florida. Rhoads was Ozzy's lead guitarist, a prodigy who'd helped resurrect the rock legend's career. The band had just finished a show. Most of the crew was resting. Outside, their tour bus driver had found a small plane on the property. He decided to take some crew members for a joyride. His pilot's license was expired. He had cocaine in his system. And for reasons no one fully understands, he started buzzing the tour bus. Buzzing means flying dangerously low, skimming just feet above a target. It's a stunt, a prank. On the third pass, the plane's wing clipped the bus. Instant loss of control. The plane veered sideways, slammed into a nearby mansion, and exploded on impact. Randy Rhoads was 25 years old. He wasn't even on the plane. He was asleep in the bus the plane hit. He never knew what happened. He never had a chance to react. Some deaths are tragic. This one was just senseless. If that seems preventable, this next one defies all logic. Case 6. Sophie. On January 30th, 2021, 34-year-old Sophie climbed onto the rooftop of her Athens apartment. The Scottish producer was a pioneer of hyperpop, an experimental genre that had made her one of the most influential artists in electronic music. She was in Greece, working on new material. That night, there was a full moon. She wanted to watch it. That's it. That's the whole story. Sophie slipped. She fell 3 stories, approximately 30 feet. At that height, you hit the ground at roughly 30 miles per hour. That's the same force as being struck by a car. The fall took less than 2 seconds. There's no way to know if she was aware of what was happening. No drugs, no foul play, no system failure, no one else involved, just a rooftop, a full moon, and a single misstep in the dark. Sometimes death doesn't need a villain. It just needs an opportunity. The next death came faster, in the flip of a coin. Case 7. Ritchie Valens. On February 3, 1959, 17-year-old Ritchie Valens was freezing on a tour bus in Iowa. The teenage rock star, famous for La Bamba, was on the Winter Dance Party tour. The bus had broken down twice. The heater was dead. Musicians were getting sick. So when a small charter plane became available, everyone wanted a seat. There were only 3 spots. Ritchie Valens won his seat on a coin flip. He called it heads. The plane took off into a snowstorm. The pilot wasn't instrument rated, meaning he wasn't certified to fly without visual reference to the ground. Within minutes, he lost spatial orientation. The plane's instruments said one thing. His senses said another. He trusted his instincts. The Beechcraft Bonanza hit a cornfield at 170 miles per hour. All 4 people on board died instantly. The crash happened less than 5 miles from the airport. They almost made it. Ritchie Valens was 17 years old. He'd been famous for 8 months. They called it the day the music died. All because of a coin flip. But some systems fail slowly, over decades. Case 8. Elvis Presley. On August 16, 1977, 42-year-old Elvis Presley was found unresponsive on his bathroom floor at Graceland. The king of rock and roll had been struggling for years. Weight gain, insomnia, chronic pain, and a personal physician who never said no. Dr. George Nicopolis, Dr. Nick, had been prescribing Elvis medications for over a decade. In the last 8 months of Elvis's life alone, Dr. Nick prescribed him over 10,000 doses of sedatives, amphetamines, and narcotics. 10,000. Elvis's body was falling apart. His heart was enlarged. His colon was twice the normal length. impacted with months of constipation, a side effect of chronic opioid use. That morning, Elvis was straining on the toilet. The Valsalva maneuver, bearing down hard, triggered a vagal response. In a heart already weakened by years of drug abuse, that response caused a fatal arrhythmia. His girlfriend found him face down on the floor. He was still warm. Resuscitation failed. Dr. Nikopoulos had his medical license suspended. He was never convicted of any crime. Elvis Presley could have any doctor in the world. He chose the one who would give him whatever he wanted. The system didn't fail him. It gave him exactly what he asked for. And it killed him. And Elvis wasn't the last. Case 9. Whitney Houston. On February 11, 2012, 48-year-old Whitney Houston was found face down in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. It was the night before the Grammy Awards. The greatest voice of her generation was supposed to attend Clive Davis's pre-Grammy party downstairs. For years, Houston's struggles with addiction had been public knowledge. The tabloids had documented her decline. The industry had watched. No one intervened. That evening, Houston drew a bath. At some point, she used cocaine. Cocaine constricts blood vessels and accelerates heart rate, combined with the hot water, which dilates blood vessels and lowers blood pressure. Her heart was fighting two opposite forces. The coroner determined she suffered a cardiac event. Her head slipped beneath the water. She drowned in less than 12 inches of water. Her assistant found her submerged. Resuscitation attempts failed. She was pronounced dead at 3:55 p.m. The death was ruled accidental. No charges were ever filed. Whitney Houston had 6 Grammys. She had sold over 200 million records. She had one of the most recognizable voices in human history. And she died alone in a hotel bathtub hours before the biggest night in music. But the last betrayal was the cruelest. Case 10. Prince. On April 21, 2016, 57-year-old Prince was found unresponsive in an elevator at his Paisley Park estate. The Purple One had been dealing with chronic hip pain for years, a consequence of decades of performing in heels. He'd been managing it with painkillers, but Prince didn't trust doctors. He didn't want to become dependent. So he sought out what he believed were low-dose Vicodin pills. The pills were counterfeit. Inside those pills wasn't Vicodin. It was fentanyl, a synthetic opioid 50 times stronger than heroin. The lethal dose of fentanyl fits on the tip of a pencil, about 2 milligrams. Fentanyl floods opioid receptors instantly. Your breathing slows. Your heart rate drops. Your brain shuts down. Prince likely felt nothing. One moment he was conscious. The next, he wasn't. That's the only mercy in this story. The source of the counterfeit pills was traced to a dealer who got them from an illegal supply chain. No one was ever charged with Prince's death. Prince didn't want to get high. He wanted to manage his pain. He tried to be responsible. But the pharmaceutical system that should have protected him, the supply chains, the regulations, the safeguards, failed. He took what he thought was medicine. It was poison. 4 stars, 4 systems, 4 betrayals. Michael Jackson trusted his doctor. Aaliyah trusted her pilot. Elvis trusted his prescriptions. Prince trusted his pills. All 4 paid with their lives. These weren't just celebrity tragedies. They were system failures. The same doctors who overprescribed to Elvis are still practicing. The same charter companies that killed Aaliyah are still flying. The same counterfeit pills that killed Prince are still on the streets. Fame didn't protect them. It won't protect you either.